Hey guys, it's Jeff from Magnolia Photography SC, wildlife photographer in Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm out here at the beautiful Boone Hall Plantation today on a beautiful day, doing a couple product reviews and doing a bunch of wildlife photography as well as wildlife videography. So posting another video for you guys on a recent purchase I made, which is the Sony 400 to 800 lens. You will probably have seen that video by the time you see this one. Maybe not. I'm not sure when they're going to post. The other video that I wanted to do, and that's this one, is another product review for you guys. If you are in the market for a tripod, I may have found the best quality tripod for the $200 range. It's just under $200. You can get it off Amazon, $195. If you're interested in it, I do have a link in the show notes that'll take you right to this product on Amazon. That, of course, is an affiliate link, which means no charge, no fees to you if you use that link. But what it does is gives me a small commission from Amazon should you use that link. If you decide to use it, thank you in advance. I appreciate that very much. If you don't want to use it, no hard feelings, that's fine too. But I wanted to let you know it's there. And if you wanted to find some way to support the channel, that is a great way to do it. So I would thank you in advance for doing so. All right, let's talk about this tripod. It's a 4-section carbon fiber tripod, which means it has 3 twist locks on each leg. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about twist locks versus flip locks. My experience over the time that I've been a photographer has been that flip locks fail me. I've never had a twist lock fail. I'm sure they can, I'm sure they do, but I've personally never had a twist lock that's failed. The flip locks I've always kind of gravitated towards because they seem to be a little faster when compared to a twist lock, but I think if we're to be truthful about it, it's not all that much faster. Maybe another second or two to undo the flip locks compared to the twist locks. It's really not that big of a deal. And I find that when I get out into the field, I'm not usually making too many adjustments to the height of my tripod. But at any rate, I wanted to let you know that it has the twist locks and it is a carbon fiber tripod with 4 sections. Now, of course, any tripod, the least amount of sections that you have, the more stable it is, right? Ideally, I would like to have a 3-section tripod, but this one being 4, quite honestly, I find to be just fine. I know a lot of tripods, when you get down to that bottom leg, when you have a 4-section tripod, they can get pretty thin from the diameter. This one doesn't do that. It still has a pretty decent diameter on it. It's 22 millimeters. So it's pretty thick. It's not bad at all. The top one here is 32 millimeters, and 2 of the handles come with some sponge grips, which is just a little bit of a convenient factor, right, to have those. Some of the other features that it has on here is the legs. They're very easy to move. You push them in a little bit. It's got this little clip lock, and then you can adjust the leg into those different positions that you might be interested in. Now, this tripod, as far as the overall weight of it, is right around 4 pounds. Now, in looking at tripods around this price range, it seems most of them are somewhere right around 3 to 3.5 pounds. So this one's slightly heavier than average, but I kind of look at that as a good thing. For me, I've saved a lot of weight going to a carbon fiber as opposed to the aluminum that I was using previously. And for a ½ pound or a pound more than the average tripods, I think I would rather have just that little extra weight to give me that little extra stability when I'm out in the field. Speaking of extra stability, if you need any, if you're using the metal head with this tripod that comes with it, there is a hook underneath, so you could hang your camera bag from there, you could hang a sandbag from there, whatever you want to hang with weight, it'll just give you that little extra stability. Now, one thing I do want to point out, guys, I am out in the field today, and, you know, stupid me, I didn't bring my notes on this tripod, so I'm going off my memory right now with the exact specs of this tripod. When I put the final video together, I will be back in the studio talking about it, and I will make sure that we revisit those specs just to make sure that what I tell you out here is actually correct. But again, I do think it's about a 4-pound tripod. The other thing that you might be interested in is the working height. Now, that was a big reason for me why I got this tripod. This thing will go down to just about, I think it's 4.1 inches off the ground. So you can get down pretty low. And that is always nice in wildlife photography when you want to get down on the eye level of our subjects. As far as the upper end of it, the maximum working height is 63 inches. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking, geez, I'm kind of taller. I don't know if that's going to work for me. Keep in mind, though, that working height, you also need to add in your head and you also need to add in your camera. So when you do that, on average, this tripod is giving you between 70 to 75 inches of working height. Now, I'm 5'8". I find this completely fine for me. But then again, I'm also typically not working with this tripod standing straight up. I'm usually sitting down like you see me here so that I can work with some lower angles. Now, all depends on how you work and what's important to you, but those are some things to consider when purchasing a tripod, of course. It does have a level on the tripod, pretty standard, nothing too major there. And the other thing that it has is a 3/8 inch accessory port on the side of it as well. So if you wanted to add something else, whatever you might use, whether you use a microphone, a field monitor, whatever the case may be, you do have that accessory port that you can add some additional products to. Now this has two heads. It comes with just a flat metal plate, which is really what I'm using for wildlife. But if you are into landscape or anything where getting a perfectly horizontal picture is absolutely critical, it also comes with a bowl head. And again, I don't have that with me. I'll show it to you when I get back to the studio. But with the bowl head, what we would do is we would just unscrew this hook and the metal plate in the hook would come off. We then would have a long black handle and we would have that 75 millimeter, which is a universal bowl head that would sit down in the hole and we would tighten that handle up. But what that allows us to do is take that handle and manipulate the head so that we can move our camera into a horizontal and level position. And it's a little bit easier to do that than using the tripod legs. So that is another nice feature that you get for a $200 tripod, right? Two heads, good thickness on the legs, carbon fiber, lots of benefits that come with this particular tripod. Trying to think what else I would like to share with you guys about this tripod as we're here. That's really it. I mean, I think that $200, I think what I'm finding for me, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've shared a lot of equipment with you guys, this tripod, my monopod, my gimbal head, this Manfrotto video head. These are all right in that $200 range. I am finding that to be a pretty nice sweet spot for getting equipment that is quality and it's going to give you some longevity, but you're not going to spend $1 million to do that. You're also not going to waste your time going out and spending $100 on a tripod that 6 months from now, you're going to go, you know what? This really doesn't have the features I want. It's really not that stable of a tripod. And I should have just spent the $200 and got this in the first place, right? Because what you're going to wind up doing is spending more money in the long run by skimping out now. And I've done that. So that's why I really kind of try to share that with you. I've bought cheap tripods before, and sometimes they work depending on your needs, right? These were just purchases I made for putzing around, doing things on my own free time, right? Some landscape photography, some nonsense type stuff. And if you're doing something like that, then maybe you don't need to invest a ton of money. But if you're doing anything more seriously, if you're using wildlife equipment with these big lenses and stuff, you definitely don't want to take the chance of skimping, even if it is just a hobby, because it's not worth your equipment falling over and damaging it, right? That gets pretty pricey when we start talking about this wildlife equipment. All right, guys, I'm going to end the video right here for this tripod. I think I have really covered everything. Like I said, we'll talk about it a little bit more in the studio, and I will just kind of reiterate those specs just to make sure, going off my memory here, that I have everything right. But I think if you're in the market for this, you got to check it out. Again, it's on Amazon. It's the Innorel RT80C carbon fiber tripod, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I'll see you back in the studio to finish off this video. All right, welcome back. We are now back in the studio from Boone Hall Plantation, obviously. But fun day out there getting some wildlife videos and some wildlife photos in. and had a lot of fun doing so. But I just wanted to really circle back on the Innorel RT80C carbon fiber tripod, just to review the specs real quickly, make sure that I was giving you the information. I was working off memory earlier, and just always kind of hate to do that because I don't want to give you the incorrect information. So I just want to make sure you have this. Again, I think this is definitely a really viable option if you are looking for a tripod that comes with some durability and some longevity without breaking the bank. We are looking at a $195 tripod, 4-section carbon fiber tripod. So again, it has the twist lock legs, right? So you're going to have 3 twist locks making up those 4 sections. And I will say again, I don't know what your feelings are, what your preferences are when it comes to the different locks. There's the twist locks and then there's the flip locks. Flip locks, of course, do provide a little bit more speed when making adjustments to your legs, but the twist locks, because they have less moving parts, offer you greater reliability. Now, I've had flip locks fail. I haven't had a twist lock fail, and I do want to reiterate, that doesn't mean that they won't fail or that they can't fail. It's just less likely that they will when we compare them to a flip lock. The speed to me isn't that much, of a difference. It's not that big of a deal. I know in the past I've gravitated towards the flip blocks because I just always felt like they were a lot faster. But the truth of the matter is, it's really not the case. There is just something about the twist locks. It gets a bad rap when it comes to speed because they are pretty quick. It's just a quarter turn to loosen them up and a quarter turn to tighten them, right? It's not like we're unscrewing something and it's taking forever to make that change. So just some things to keep in mind when it comes to the type of locks. You will obviously have to make that decision for yourself, whether you prefer the speed or the reliability. This tripod is 4 pounds for the total weight of it. Now, I think I shared with you that I come from using an aluminum tripod, and it had a long center column, and it was really designed more for portraiture type work. And I've had a lot of tripods over the years, but because I was doing a lot of wedding photography and a lot of portraiture, I just never kind of went into making that purchase to get a tripod more geared towards wildlife. And I don't know what's taken me so long to make that decision, but it's just one of those things that you plan on doing it, and before you know it, time goes by and you still haven't done it. So I finally pulled the trigger and said, I've had enough, because I wanted something really for me that would get lower to the ground. And this tripod is what fits the bill really well. But it is 4 pounds, right? So I've looked up other tripods. I did some research for tripods that fall within the same class as this tripod, and they range between 3 and 3.5 pounds on average. So you could argue that this tripod is a little bit heavier, right? ½ pound to a pound. Now, again, this is going to come down to some of the preferences that you have when it comes to tripods. Personally, for me, I don't think that the ½ pound or pound is a big deal. This is a much lighter tripod than what I've been using. And again, I was using that aluminum tripod. So we're generally looking at much heavier tripods. But I think having that extra ½ pound to a pound extra weight on this tripod, I like the little extra stability it's going to give us. So for me, that's how I look at it. For you, you need to determine whether or not maybe you do a lot of hiking, and maybe that ½ pound to a pound, maybe that'll be beneficial for you. Maybe you find a lot of value in having something a little bit lighter. But if that's not a big deal to you, then I think you're looking at a tripod that is very manageable from a weight standpoint. This tripod, when it's completely folded up to its travel size, tops out at 22 inches. So nothing real remarkable there. I think that's pretty average for a tripod. I think most of them in this class usually fold up to about 18 to 22 inches. So, you're right in that range of overall length here when you fold it up to travel with it. The tripod does come with a carrying bag, right? There's nothing real special about this bag. It's pretty typical of any tripod that you're going to buy in this range. It's a zipper bag. It does what it's supposed to do. So there's nothing really remarkable to note about it. More or less just wanted to make you aware that it does come with a carrying case in case that is of interest to you. as I was sharing with you guys, I believe I was sharing with you guys when I was out at Boone Hall, this tripod comes with 2 heads. And I think that is one of the best selling features of this tripod, depending on what type of photography that you do. But it comes with this flat head metal plate right here. And this is what I'm going to be using when I'm out doing wildlife. I'll attach my video head, or I'll attach my my gimbal head there. And those heads are going to give me the flexibility to have my camera in any shooting angle that I want. So if you're in a situation where, you know, a flat head works for you, and you really don't need to worry about manipulating the head angles whatsoever, then this is probably going to be a perfect fit for you. And it probably fits most genres of photography. But if you are doing something like landscape photography, and horizontal positioning of your photos becomes a little bit more critical, and you don't want to have to worry about messing around with the height of your tripod legs, because that can just be inconvenient. But you know, landscape photography requires a lot of unbalanced, uneven ground, and constantly adjusting your tripod legs, trying to get them into a perfectly horizontal level. I just have always found it to be a real pain in the butt. But with this tripod, we've got this 75 millimeter bowl head. So this little handle just screws off of this, and you can see that this bowl head is, it's got just a little bit of an angle, right? So it's wider at the top, and it's got a narrower diameter at the bottom. So this piece, this head obviously will come off. We'll unscrew it by the hook that's underneath this tripod. This part of the head will sit into the hole, and then this handle is going to come in from underneath, and that's going to allow us to tighten up that head. So before we fully tighten it, of course, we can manipulate our camera into whatever angle we need to get into to get that nice horizontal level setting. And then we can tighten down this handle, and we'll be in, you know, a perfect position, and we can just use our tripod legs however they are sitting. So I think that's a nice feature, that we get those 2 heads and we get those 2 options. And it just makes the tripod a little bit more flexible, in my opinion. Couple features with the head itself. It does come with a level here on the side of the tripod up top. We also have the 3/8 inch port, accessory port here on the side, so you can add whatever additional accessories you like to add to your tripod, whatever that may be. And then when we are using that flat metal head plate, we have this hook underneath. And so if you wanted to add some additional weight to give your tripod some additional stability, you will have that option provided to you. Once again, if we're switching to the bowl head, you can see we don't have a hook on there, and we don't have an option to add a hook. So we will lose that feature when we go to this head. But if we are just using this one, then you'll have, you know, that hook there just in case you need it. The working height of this tripod, once again, is 4.7 inches all the way up to 63 inches. Now, I like the 4.7 because that's what I was mentioning earlier. I wanted a tripod that is going to allow me to get those legs wider and get that tripod down much lower to the ground, because I want to be able to get that tripod low so that I can have a nice working height to get on the same level of the wildlife. So that's what, you know, works for me. If you're not doing wildlife, or maybe you're doing some other form of photography and you don't need to get that low, this may not be as exciting to you as it is to me, but I think that's a pretty cool feature. If you're going on the max end of this tripod, it goes all the way up to 63 inches. So we have to remember, though, 63 inches is just to the top of this head. Once we start adding our additional heads on there, whether it be a ball head, a video head, or a gimbal head, whatever the case may be, and we start to put our camera on top of that, now we're generally looking at a working height of somewhere between 70 to 75 inches. And I think that when we start to get into those ranges, this tripod is going to be pretty suitable for most people and their height, right? Because 72 inches is 6 feet. So even if you're, 6 feet or a little bit taller than that, it should be in a pretty decent working height for you. If you don't like that, of course, then this may not be the tripod for you. You may have to look at something that extends a little bit higher. But Of course, the other aspect to consider there is the higher you go, the more unstable you tend to be getting with a tripod. So those are some things that you're really going to have to consider when it comes down to your needs as far as your max end of your working height. And lastly, as I mentioned, it has the leg adjustments. It has the little button that you push in here. You push the leg in a little bit, and then you can manipulate the leg into any position, right? There's several different positions that you can put it into. And once you let go of that and you get into a defined position that the tripod offers, that leg will lock down and everything will be secure. All right, guys, that is it for the other half of this video. Just wanted to make sure you had all those right specs so that you guys can make an informed decision for yourself. This is on Amazon. I have a affiliate link in the show notes. I think I may have mentioned that earlier. I always like to be very transparent, right? An affiliate link means that if you use that link to buy something, there's not going to be any extra charge or any extra fee to you, but it does give me a small commission from Amazon if you make that purchase. And that is a great way for you guys to support the show. And if you don't mind doing that, that's something I appreciate very much. If you don't want to do that, no hard feelings, no problem. Purchase it wherever you want to purchase it. But just like to let everybody know that, because I like to be upfront about that stuff. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it useful, if you found it interesting, I would appreciate it if you would just give it a quick thumbs up so that it gets pushed out to more people like us who enjoy talking about these things, who enjoy learning about these things, and hopefully it helps some of you out there. While you're here, also, please consider subscribing to the channel. That's always very much appreciated. And don't forget, head over to magnoliaphotography.com/store, where you can look at my ebooks and my wildlife photography guides. Great source of information there to help you along with your journey in wildlife photography. And if you're interested in picking up any DxO products, I have a link in the show notes to this video that will take you right over to DxO. And any purchases that you make, be sure to use my discount code at the time of checkout. Just enter Magnolia into the discount code box, and that will save you 15% on any of your purchases. All right, guys, thank you so much. Good luck with your wildlife and take care.